Hi guys. Okay, moving on now to digital time. So when we start, just a recap, remember that we said we've got the minute hand and we've got the hour hand. So right now, with the minute hand pointing to the 12 and the hour hand pointing to the 1, it is currently 1 o'clock. So when we start at 1 o'clock, remember there are 12 hours in a day. So any digital clock has 4 spaces. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's got the colon. So to make space for the 12 hours in a day, that's why they have 2 spaces here. And naturally, because we go up to 60 minutes, it doesn't go all the way up to 100. That's why we have 2 spaces here, because it's a 2-digit number. So if it is 1 o'clock, all that we do is we fill in a 0 and the 1. Now, because it is on the dot o'clock, no minutes have passed 1 o'clock yet. So over here we'll put 00 because that's the time. This shows us how many minutes have passed the hour. Right. So now if we move on, I will keep it at 1 o'clock, so I'll do the next one here. Okay, so it's still 1 o'clock. There we go. And I'm going to make it now 1:15. Whoopsie. If this thing works with me. There we go. Okay, it's 1:15. So at this point in time, this is when knowing how many minutes have passed is very important. So remember I said as each number passes, that means 5 minutes passed every time. So from the 12, we count 5, 10, 15. So it's still 1 o'clock, and now 15 minutes have passed 1 o'clock. Remember, this side is our minute hand actually could be, yes, where the minute hand is pointing, and this side over here is where the hour hand is pointing. Okay, then as we go further, remember it's still 1 o'clock. We go, let's do 1:30. So now, if we move past 1/4, we know that 1/4 is 15 minutes past. We can go 20, 25, 30. Okay, it's still 1 o'clock, even though the hour hand is now in between the 1 and the 2. It's still 1 o'clock. But now we know that 30 minutes have passed 1 o'clock. Right. This is now when it starts, it's not confusing, but it starts getting a little bit more complicated. Okay. So when we start working with so many minutes to, or 1/4 to, 25 minutes to, this is where the digital time can get a little bit confusing. Because remember now, we are still in 1 o'clock. It's not 2 o'clock yet, but when I start referring to the time now, I'm going to start saying it's 25 to 2. It's 20 to 2. It's 1/4 to 2. It's 10 to 2. It is 5 to 2. I should have probably used a better number than 2. But anyway, okay, so let's do 20 to 2. So if I move my hour hand here, this time now says it's 20 to 2 o'clock. So remember now I can count there from the 8, I count to the 12 to see how many minutes are left. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20. But when we are working with a digital time, remember this side over here tells us how much time has passed the hour, how many minutes have passed the hour. So because we are still in 1 o'clock, we haven't gone to 2 o'clock yet, I've still got 0, 1. But now, to find out how many minutes have passed, I'm not looking at the time 2, I'm not calculating how many more minutes are to 2 o'clock, I'm calculating how many minutes have passed 1 o'clock. So if I go from the 12, I go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And 40 minutes past 1 o'clock is actually known as 20 to 2 because there are still 20 minutes left before we get to 2 o'clock. Right, now we've got 1/4 to 2. So again, it's still 1 o'clock. We still haven't gone into the second hour or 2 o'clock. And Again, I write down 0, 1. And now I need to calculate how much time has passed again. So once again, we go from the 12, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So now the time is 1:45. But when I read 1:45, I don't say that it's 45 minutes past 1 or 1:45, although some people do say it like that. But as soon as I get into this yellow part of the clock, I start referring to so many minutes to the next hour. I'm looking forward to the next hour that's coming. Okay, so now still I know 45 minutes have passed, but I'm saying now that it's 5, 10, 15 minutes to 2 o'clock, also known as a quarter to. Right, I know this one gets a little bit more complicated. It's just something that comes with practice. As you go, you'll get used to seeing the different times and knowing automatically that 45, when you see something 45, you know that it's a quarter to the next hour. Slowly but surely, you'll start getting there. Right, the next one that I want to show you, and I know this has been confusing a lot of you, is because we work on a 24-hour clock. So there are 24 hours in the day, and sometimes to help people out with a 24-hour clock, it makes it easier to start going into the next hours. Because say, for example, I say to you, I want to see you in my classroom at, let's say, 7 o'clock. Okay, so 7 o'clock, if, for example, we were at school from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening, and I said to you, I want to see you at 7 o'clock in my classroom. Now, it's very difficult sometimes to go, okay, she's definitely talking about the morning, or she's definitely talking about the evening. So the easiest way for us to now calculate if it's morning or if it's afternoon is, if it's morning, we'll still say 07, because remember, we're counting from basically 0 in the morning. So as it turns 1 o'clock, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 12 o'clock. Okay, so this is now 7 o'clock in the morning. Right, then as we carry on through the day, we eventually get to 12 o'clock, and from 12 o'clock, when it reaches 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so we've got the last one there, we'll say 12, and remember there's 60 minutes in an hour, so it will say 12:59. As it now goes to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not going to be 01 anymore, although some 12-hour clocks still work like that. But now it will say 13 o'clock, because we are now in the 13th hour of the day. Actually, 12 hours have passed and we've now gone into the 13th hour of the day. And that's the same way all the way through. So it goes 13 for 1 o'clock, then it's 14 for 2 o'clock, 15, 3 o'clock, 16, 4 o'clock, 17, 5 o'clock, 18, 6 o'clock, 19, and yeah, 7 o'clock. So if I wanted you to come to my classroom at 7 o'clock in the evening, I would write on your letter that you need to come to me at 19:00. Now, an easy way to figure the 24-hour digital time out is either you can just count on your hands. So we hit 12 o'clock, we go 13, see, 1, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 is 5 o'clock. 18, 19, 20. 20 is 8 o'clock. 21, 22. 22 is 10 o'clock. Right. But an easier way to do it is to just subtract 12. So 14 minus 12, we should know, is 2. 15 minus 12, 3. 16 minus 12, 4. And so on, and so on, and so on. So As we get to the very end of the day, we will be in the 23rd hour. That is 11 o'clock. So we go 23:59. Okay, so now it is 11:59. There is 1 minute left until 12 o'clock. And remember, as soon as that clock strikes 12 at night, we are actually starting the new day. So it basically, you can think of it as a reset. Everything goes back to scratch. It goes back to the very beginning. So when it hits 12 o'clock at night, it will say 0, 0, colon, 0, 0. And then as we go further through the day, it'll change to 0, 0, colon, 0, 1. So that means that it's 1 minute past 12. Right, and then as the day continues, that just carries on. Obviously, then we start again from 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and we'll get to the afternoon, and then we'll start using again the 13, 14, 15, 16, just to show that we are now in the afternoon and we are not in the morning anymore.